So hello guys, in this video we are going to learn some enum advanced concept, basically how we can use constructor, in the constructor how you can pass multiple value, everything. Okay, so basically the basic things we have already learned, like how enum is a type shape. Okay, and you can define a constructor in Java enum, no doubt in that. The constructor is a constant, enum is a constant implicitly, and it's a static and final. We have already discussed. Enum can implement interface in Java, that is also possible. Enum has a implicit, this is the very important method, which is values. It's an implicit method. Implicit means if you talk about the string, if you talk about array, so array having a one length variable which is implicit. Same thing, a string having a one length function, that is called implicit. In the same way we can say enum also having a one implicit method which is value, and through that you can read all those value of the enums, okay, which return all the enum constants in as a array. You can use enum in the switch case directly, okay, maybe it's a int, a string data type, anything. You can compare two enum constant using the both, double equal to or equal to methods, no doubt in that. Okay, let's talk about some example, like how we can create a constructor inside the enum, how we can pass multiple parameters. Okay, so let's go to the Eclipse. Okay, and here I have created already one enum test. Okay, and I am going to create some of the example, like for example I have a one application, and in my applications I have a multiple thread, and multiple thread having a some status, right? So based on the status I have to read like what is the current status and what is the threads, whatever the things. Okay, so based on that we can write a code and we can see. So basically if I say, whenever you see like, okay, I have a short term of the value, and I have a sum of the variety, and I want to make it as a constant, then you can go with the enum basically. Okay, so let me write one class. It's a simple example and it's a real time also, so many places you can see it's implemented. Okay, so let me create one thread. Okay, thread, and thread enum. Okay, this is my enum name. Okay, thread enum, and I will change it, it's a enum. Okay, so now it's a enum, it's look like a enum. Okay, fine, and this is the thread enum, and I have a multiple thread, and every thread status. And one more things, we can't update the value of enum once you define it. That is the one very strict things. Okay, it's very strict. Okay, it will never ever change once you define it value. Okay, because we are going to make constructor as a private, so by default it's a immutables, it will happen. And then after also you can say like it will support the singleton design patterns, you can't create an object again. Okay, so lots of the things will be happen inside it. Okay, but let us, so what I am going to do is basically I am going to take example of the thread. So for example I have a one thread called task execution. So this is one thread name. Okay, and in this thread I'm going to provide the constructor. Okay, and every constructor field having a one corresponding value. Okay, so I will give here this particular enum constructor assigned with the name. Okay, I will clear each and everything, no doubt in that. Okay, so for example for this enum I have to define three fields. Okay, and all fields should be public, not public, private. Okay, final. Okay, private, final, and you can write what is the type. So type should be a string, and I have to give the name, right? And one more variables I have to take, like private final string, okay? And the starting state I have to maintain. So every times I have to I had to see, like, okay, what is the state. So for example, I have to give the thread name, and what is the thread corresponding value, okay? So let me give the corresponding value, okay? And one more things, like what is the status or code, you can say. So those I have to put inside the code, which is integer value, okay? So this is the three parameters I have defined, and for three parameters we have to provide here constructor of each and every enum. So what we can do here, it's a constant, so we have to provide here only, okay? So what is the name you are going to give this particular thread name? So I will give task execution. So I will give name called like that, task, okay, executions, execution execution, and same thing I'm going to give as a value also, okay, task execution new, okay? And what is the code I'm going to give? So code is something like maybe the success, so 200, okay? Otherwise based on the state, maybe they'll say new state, ready state. So based on the states we can define. So let me give the value as a state. So here I will write new, otherwise I can write like that also, new. And what is the state is, I will give by default every thread having a 0, correct? So this is the one thread I have created, okay? But if you create like that and if you not provide the constructor, it will give error. Right now you can see here. So for each and every field you have to provide the constructor, okay? So let me take one parameterized constructors, so we can easily generate it. Don't forget to generate this constructor, otherwise it will not work. Okay, once I generated the constructor, you can see error is gone. Okay, let me save and maximize it. Okay, so we have created one thread, but I don't want only one thread, I have to create one more thread, right? I have a multiple thread, not only one thread, okay, multiple thread. But make sure you have to separate it with comma, and at the end you have to give comma. So if you see this example, multiple places the peoples are using it, okay, comma 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 semicolon, what is the issue? Okay, but you can't give the duplicate here, so we can give, okay, task execution. I will give schedule schedule task. This is the another thread name, and one more thread names I have, which is okay, executor thread, okay, and one more threads I have, which is session management, session thread, okay. And make sure whatever the value you are giving as a thread which is constant, it should be a capital letter, that is the coding standard, you can say. And here we have given the name, here we have given the, like, what is the state, and here we have given the by default starting is 0, okay. Here we can give the same name, okay, schedule task, okay. And here also we can give execution thread, here we can give some name called session thread. Okay, and maybe some of the starting is something called ready. Some of the state is like run. Okay, new, run, wait. This is the state I have decided. I am giving the proper example, guys, so don't worry about it, and please try to understand what I am saying. Okay, so whenever you create it, and this is very useful in the lots of the project, so many project we are using like that. I have experience and I know like what is the value of it, but for example, so many situations it's like it's very important, and you can take the help of this one and you can easily do it. Okay, and it's a very important, guys, so don't forget it. Okay, and same thing, whatever the field, maybe that it's a two field, 1 2 3, so you have to declare here 3 value, and this is the first one, so name is first one, value is second parameter, and code is third parameter. Like that you have to decide, and same way we have to create one private constructor. If you see here, we have created the private constructor thread enum. Okay, done. But the problem is how we can read this value. Okay, so while we can't set the value because value is already available here. Okay, so we can't set it, we can read this value. So how we can read? So for reading we can generate, let me generate getter methods. So corresponding the fields we can generate only getter method, not setter method. Clear? Okay, so this is the 4 thread we have, every thread having a different name, and every having a different state, but code is right now same. You can differentiate it also, no issue. Okay, so for example, this is waiting, so waiting will not, it should be a 4, and this should be a 3, and this should be a 2, and what is the 1? Okay, so ready is 1, and this one is 2 we can make, and this one is 3. Okay, correct. And make sure you have to create this field. And how we can read this value? So while reading a value from anywhere, we can take the help of this get value. Okay, so it will directly take the value from here, but internally it will talk to this one corresponding thread and it will give the value. Okay, let's see how. So what we can do, I am going to the enum test, and here I am going to create one main methods. Let me create one main methods, and I want to read the value. So first I have to write the thread name. So what is the thread? Thread enum dot execution thread dot get name. So this is the very strict, and we can read the name also, and we can print it. Okay, so let me assign this value here, and let me print it. Okay, so this is the name. Let me print. Okay, so if you see, the name will be printed here, execution thread. In the same way, if you want to print the value or something, so just you have to change here get name to what? Get value. Okay, once you write the get value, you can print it, and this is also a value you can write here. Okay, in the same way, if you want to write code also, so thread enum dot execution thread dot get code. Okay, it will give one code value, and all those value you can print easily, no issue in that. I have already explained you, right? And s out and code. Okay, so whenever it's required you can just write these things and you can get the value. Okay, what is the enum name and what is the enum value and those methods. Okay, through that you can read and you can see it will printed here. Okay, but in the some of the situation what we have to do is we have this thread name, okay, but we want value. So that time what we can do? Okay, so if you have a value you want name, if you have a name you want value, if you have a code, if you have a name you can get the value. So like that we can create a method inside the enum, and through that also you can read it. So this is the one thing I have explained. The second thing is, let me give this out. Okay, and here I will give something line. If I want to print all those value, what we can do? Okay, so for that you can use one for loop. Inside the for loop what we can do is, inside the enum having all those enum, right? Okay, if you have a twist string you can use the twist string also here. So let me give the twist string also. So go to the enum and inside the enum try to give twist string method source generate twist string. Oh my god, this operation is not applicable for the enum, so you can't generate twist string method. Okay, inside the enum you can't generate it. Okay, this is the very important point. So here we have a for, and inside the for how we can read all those value? So we have a one value method. Through the value we can read all those data and we can store it. So what it will return? It will return one thread. Okay, thread enum equal to thread enum dot value method. This will give one array. If you see here, it will give one enum array, and through that enum array what we can do is we can print all those data. Okay, how? So just write this code inside it. Okay, and it's a loop. So what it will do, you have to write e dot get name, right? Here you have to write e dot get value. Here you have to write e dot get code. Okay, like that. Okay, let me run so that you can understood how it's printing. So if you see here, let me remove ln, and after one executions we can print this out. Okay, so in that case you can understood easily. So this is the task executions new or 0. If you give the space here, it will print separately. Okay, so I hope you understood how we are reading this value. Okay, while using this thread value method, but we can write our own method also, and so many places in the real time we are writing it also. So what we can do is, for example, I want to return with the I have a name, I want value. So what we can do, we can write our own method. How? So we can write public, a static method we have to write, and we can return thread enum. Okay, and through the thread enum while returning we can write get thread in get value, get value by name. Okay, so here we have to take one name, so a string name, so people will provide the name. So what we can do, we have to return the value. So how we can return the value? So while returning a value, what we can do is, here we can write whatever the threads we have. So we can write thread enum dot Otherwise you can write this also. So this dot, let me write this. So this dot not working, this dot not working. So let me write the thread only. So thread enum dot what we want, so we can write a value. So value will give all those value, but from that we can find out, okay. But what we can do is, here we can write here one array, okay. We can use the help of array utility class dot, we can convert it to the stream, okay, and a stream will take the array, so we can give this array, and after this array we can use the filter, simple. And in the filter one enum we can read, and we can check e dot get name dot equals ignore case with given name, right, with given name. So if it is return me something called any value, so on those value what we can do is, okay, so with that value what we can do is, we can read the first, okay. We have a first, find first, and those first will return one get. So if you not return finally, if you write like that, so it will return one optional class, but I don't want optional, okay. So if you don't want optional, what you can do, you can simply write here dot get. So dot get method will give the object, and those object you can store in some places, okay, which is thread enum, and those thread enum you can return, right. Otherwise same line you can return it, you can write like that also, thread enum you can return it. Otherwise you can write directly return here only, okay. Okay, so how I have written, first we have converted array. So we have a array stream, so in array stream we can put easily our array, so that it will give a stream of the object, and those stream of object we have provided. Once it is converted to the stream, we have applied the filter, and through the filter we have checked like if it is equals, then what it will do, it will give the first element, and through the first element what we can do, we can return it, right. If it is null, it will return the nulls. So like that we can work it. If you want like with the name of the value, okay, so whatever you want, okay, you can return it from this one, because we are returning the thread enum. So once we return the thread enum, if you want value, if you want code, whatever, you can read it, okay, right. So this is the way we can write any method inside the enum, and through that we can read, we can pass name, we can read value, we can pass name, we can read code, okay. So let me go and read this one time executions, okay. So first I am going to, I hope you understood this one, this code, okay, this code you understood. Now I am going to the for testing. So in the testing you can say like, okay, what I am going to do is, I have a thread enum, so thread enum dot get value by name, right. So if you want value directly, you can read it, no issue also, okay. But okay, so if you want to read only value, so what we can do, we can write here dot get value, that is also possible, and here we can return one string which is giving the value only, okay. And here what we can do is, we can pass here task execution, this is the name, and through that it will return one value, those value will store here, and those value we can print easily. Okay, so this is the one way of the coding, so we can do easily. Okay, let me minimize it so you can do this is the run. Okay, so what is the name? Run. If you see task execution name is task execution is what? Execution thread is run. It's giving okay, 1 minute. So we have passed the name, so name is equal to this one, then take the first and get the value. Okay, and here if you see, this is the task execution. So the task executions, what is the value? Task execution new, but why it's giving the ready? Okay, so let me show you guys. Okay, it's giving the run, so that is not a correct answer. This is the wrong answer, guys, basically. So what we can do, we have written something wrong, I think, but we have written the value only. So task executions dot get value, and value is nothing but new only. Why it's happened? Okay, so okay, let me return as of now the thread enum, and here we can decide what value is coming. Okay, and here we can write value by name, value by name dot get name. Okay, s out value by name dot get value. Okay, and let me run it and let's see what is the behavior. So now it's returning the task executions. Okay, now we are getting the correct value, and if you print here same thing, s out what is the code. So value by name dot get code. Let me run one more time. So if you see here, we are returning the task execution new or 0. Go to the enum, task execution new or 0, but while giving the name, okay, by name. So let me remove this one method name and let me paste one more time and create one more methods, and this method exactly it will return value by name, but after get, once it will get, we can call get value methods. Okay, and those value it will return. Okay, let's go here and simply we can change it. Okay, and here I am going to write value only. So s out, and inside this out I will write thread enum dot get value by name, and here I will pass my task executions. Okay, and let me run one more time. So once I run it, you can get new. So previously I think something wrong will happen, but right now it's a good. Okay, so if you see, we are reading the name, get name, and through the name only we are comparing with the name, and if it is fine, then we are picking the first one, and with the first one we are getting because of the optional, and those value we are returning it. So like that we can create a multiple methods and we can return the exact value from the enum. Okay, so this is the advanced level coding, and this is the, you can say, high level. Okay, and each and every company, if you go any company, any project, okay, the peoples are using like that only. I have seen so many projects, and some places I have already explained you, like they have used directly only one, non multiple value constructors, so that is also possible, no issue in that. Okay guys, okay. And if you are trying to write something like task, okay, so that is not possible. Even if you give the curly braces and if you try to write something, okay, so for that also you have to create one constructor, okay, which is private. Okay, so if you write any constructor like that, then only it will support. Okay, if you see here, thread enum one parameters, initialize the field value with constructor value. So this dot name is called name. Okay, they are saying to initialize all those value, even it's used or not used. Okay, but how you can get the value here? Okay, so if you try to take some of the one parameters fields only and you are trying to provide the multiple parameters, but still they will ask to put this value also. Okay, so I think you can't do it. Okay, so if you write here this dot value, so maybe it's not working as of now still, even you provide it. Okay, so you have to provide the default value, but that is not a correct way. Everyone peoples are using same way, like only same parameters for one, what we call thread. Okay, and no need to initialize here. Okay, and it will be good. So try to write like that code, and it's a very useful. So many places for the common object or common things we are writing like that. Okay, so that whenever you read in the entire project, it's a, for everyone it's the same. Okay, so basically we are making something common for everyone, every developer, so that it will not happen any mistake, maybe the name mistake, or maybe the some state mistake, or maybe the some code mistake. So because of the mistake is happen, we are writing like that. Even you can give only one parameters also. Maybe for example, if I give the example one more, let me write one more classes. Okay, prod अच्छा है, you can write like that, URL enum. So this is also a one enum class. Okay, and I want to write whatever the URLs are available in my project in a one common place. Okay, so that we can easily read it and we can't modify it also. So in that situation, what you can do, for example, you have a dev URL, so you can write dev here, and here you can write http://localhost 8080. Okay, so whatever the port numbers you are defining, and then after slash get data. Okay, so this is the one example you can say. Okay, so this is also enum. Okay, oh, why it's happened? So this is also example of the enum. So it's saying like the constructor URL enum string is undefined. Okay, so this one you have to define. You have to create one field which is private, private string URL. Okay, so once you created this field, your issue will resolve, but you have to create one constructor also. So what you have to do, you have to write private URL, okay, enum, and through that you have to take URL, okay, and make sure to initialize it. Okay, so if you see like your problem is resolved, so you can write this dot URL equal to URL, right? So whenever, for example, if it is one parameter, you have to create one field, and for that corresponding you have to create constructor, one parameterize, and getter setter, and whatever the required method if you want, you can write it. So for example, this is the dev, okay. For example, I want QA, I want production, I want some other environment, So for all those environment, you have to comma separated, you have to write all those URL, right? And here you have to change the name, so maybe QA, okay, prod, maybe you have some other URL, user, and some having a UAT. Okay, so there is different type of the URL. So you are trying to like nobody can modify it, nobody can change it. So for that you can put those data inside the one enum, and everyone can read with the name of the URL. So URL enum dot URL, and they will pass and they will read this data and they can use it. Okay, so that is the way we can write enum basically, and that is very popular to write like that, which is parameterized constructor. So guys, if you have any doubt, let me know regarding that, so that we can continue the video regarding the enum. Okay, thank you so much.